Welcome back to Garden Studio. I'm Tessa Pinner, a designer and gardener in upstate South Carolina, Zone 8A. Really excited about tonight's video, which is a little bit different than my normal content. Before I got a degree in horticulture, I also got a degree in fine arts. And today I wanted to take you behind the scenes and show you a little bit of my process as I prepare for a gallery show. This work that I'm making draws very heavily from my garden. And the idea from it came from a previous career I had actually making wedding cakes. I had a client several years ago who was getting married on family property. We talked a lot about inspiration from the land. That's always been a theme for me. And so I actually took some castings of botanical material. It was blackberries, leaves, different nut forms. I made food grade silicone molds of that plant material, and then it went in a kind of classical bas-relief style on the cake. It ended up being a really successful experience. That cake was featured in Martha Weddings, and I did it a couple more times over my cake career. Well, I retired from cake, but that idea has always kind of lodged in my mind of this special plant material come sculptural process that I've wanted to try with clay. So this show I'm preparing for, I'm partnering with a local artist, April Schwingle, to produce a joint gallery show with her where we each contribute some elements. And my contribution is sculptural pieces and castings from my garden. Tonight, I'd like to take you along as I forage for materials for my next round of casting. I'll walk you through what that process looks like, show you the plaster casts as they're being created, and as the pieces are being peeled away. It's really all an experiment. I've done many of these, and I'm a little bit surprised every time at how things turn out. A natural place to start with my search is, of course, the cutting garden. And I'm not only looking for flowers, I'm looking for textures, for seed heads, for anything solid enough that I think it could stand up to the casting process. So there are certain things like a beautiful, fluffy Queen Anne's lace seed head that I know wouldn't do well. I do have enough experience to know there are certain things that won't work. But every time I'm looking for something a little bit different. I haven't yet tried casting a zinnia with these recurved petals. So maybe it'll work, maybe it won't, but I'm getting one of those. Here's the remains of a seed head from an echinacea flower. I think that'll make an amazing cast. Look at that interesting texture. I've done a few rose hips, but I really like that this is a 3. You might spread it flat and try to get all 3 together. This is a really beautiful hibiscus-like flower. It may cast nicely, it may not. These actual kind of remains of the flowering base might cast really nicely. Sometimes it's not, again, just the flowering part of the plant that makes a really nice cast. You notice something has been eating my echinacea, but since this is a fresh center, it may hold up to casting better than the dried ones. The key is being able to remove it without it all cracking apart. And then this is a Bright Lights Cosmos. I've done a few of these, but I like how these petals are standing up. Let's see if I can get a good one of this.
Here's where we're headed. These are some finished clay impressions taken from previous rounds of botanical casts. I've allowed them to dry here to give myself kind of a full inventory so I know what I have between all of my different casting rounds. Now it's time to prepare the plaster. I mix 3 parts plaster to 1 part water and find a suitable container to pour into. You can see here in a minute that I didn't quite get the corners of these cardboard boxes sealed, but no permanent harm done. I am going to do my best to fill every available inch, so I make the most of this round. I already know some things are going to work and some things aren't, and I just hedge my bets with doing a whole bunch of different things and hope that I have a couple of shining successes. Once all the pieces are in, I wait until the plaster fully sets up and hardens, and then I come back and start removing. It is important to do this part as quickly as possible before the plant material begins to degrade and it gets even harder to remove. But you can see here it's pretty painstaking. I start out with my fingers, but it's not long before I'm resorting to a pair of tweezers. I also know I will never actually get all of it. Sometimes I'll cut my losses and abandon certain things when I know it's clear it's just not working well, and go with the others that are. Here my son Sylvan joined me as studio sidekick for the exciting next step of pressing clay into the casts and seeing the result.
Let's see what it goes. Here, let's put them all together. Bless you.
Oh, go play.
Want a piece? Good job.
Oh, that.
Let's see how this does.
There are a couple from this round I'm really happy about. This English rose that I'm peeling up now is one I have not gotten a successful cast on from the multiple times I have tried in the past. I think this one is a winner. It all just depends on how the plaster settles between the petals as to whether the flower is legible when it removes, and I think this one is beautiful. Here are the results from that round. I'm very happy. I think they will be a great addition to my repertoire of botanical pieces.
In the next episode, I'll take you a little further along in the process. This is really just the beginning. Taking the plant samples, making castings, then comes the impressions, the application onto either a functional ceramic piece or a wall piece. You have to fire it, glaze it. There's a lot of additional steps, and I'll give you a peek into that next time as well. I hope you all have a wonderful week in your own gardens. Happy gardening.